Hey, Bert Salazar. Hope all of you are doing well. One of the concepts and sayings that I have is that information without education always leads to failure. You know, when you go out on the internet and you Google stuff, all you're gathering is data and information. But the most important part of it is the education that comes behind it. So unless you understand how to decipher that information, chances are the financial decision that you're going to be making in the future is not going to be an adequate one. Now, I want to talk today, take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the rule of 72. Now, I would argue that the vast majority of Americans do not know the rule of 72. And by the way, if you understand the rule of 72, then your financial decisions, not only now, but also in the future, are going to be a lot better for you and your family from a financial standpoint. So basically, let's say that I were to come to you and I'd say, look, I'm going to give you three choices. You can either earn 4% on your investment, 6%, or 8%. Now, at face value, I would argue most of you are going to say, well, Bert, I would rather have 8% than 4%. But you also have to factor a lot of things into that decision. Number one, if you were to get an 8% return versus a 4% or a 6%, what additional risk are you taking in comparison to the other two? Is the risk that you're taking at 8% proportionate to the risk that you would be taking at 6 and 4%? I would argue that's not necessarily always the case, but it's something that you got to pay attention to. The other issue between the 4, the 6, and the 8%, if you're going to pay taxes, are you going to be paying taxes at the capital gains rate or at the ordinary income tax rate? And there's a major difference between the two, because at the end of the day, it's not how much money you earn, is what your net account value would be at the end of that given year, or at the end of 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So one of the things that I use with my clients often is the rule of 72. And basically, the rule of 72 takes into account, how many years will it take for a given investment to double in value? So let me give you an example. At an 8% rate of return, the rule of 72 will dictate that if you get an 8% rate of return on your investment, it will take 9 years for your money to double. If it's at 6%, it would take 12 years for your money to double. And if it's at 4%, then it would take 18 years. Now, why is that so important? Obviously, everybody wants a higher rate of return for the least amount of risk, but it doesn't come that way. So you really need to gauge and verify and understand the differences in order for you to be able to make a proper decision. Now, whenever I have a discussion with a client regarding the rule of 72, which basically all you have to do is you take 72 and divide it by the interest rate that someone is offering to you, and then the answer would be the number of years that it would take for that money to double. And that would apply whether you're making a financial decision, whether you're trying to figure out, the education for your children, and if they happen to be 5 years of age, how long will it take in order for you to get them to the point that the education is going to be paid for? How much money is it going to take for you to put away? What kind of risk are you going to have to take, and so forth? Obviously, the same applies to retirement planning, retirement accumulation, and ultimately retirement distribution planning. So understanding the rule of 72 is very important from a decision-making standpoint, because it's going to give you the leverage depending on the time value of money and how much time do you have on your side of the ledger to truly determine what kind of risk are you willing to take in order to get from point A to point B. So always remember that you need to make certain at face value that you apply the rule of 72 to just about any financial decision that you would think about making in the future. If you do so, if you understand the rule, then chances are you're going to be making much better decisions today and in the future than you would otherwise. Always remember that my number one goal with each and every one of you is to kind of help you change the way that you see things, because when you change the way that you see things, the things that you see change. So again, thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time today, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.